Now, again, you may think this is just very common sense. But again, keep in mind that common sense is not so common. And why do we not spend all of our time focusing exclusively on self-efficacy? Well, you may remember the little engine that could, saying, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. Well, we have to ask ourselves, is that enough? Is that sufficient for behavior change? Well, it might be a circumstance or a situation where it's necessary but not sufficient. So it's an important construct, but it may, in exclusion or all by itself, not be enough. Now, here's some concerns. One is measurement. So if I asked you what your self-efficacy is right now for running 5 miles, give me a number between 1 and 10. You might give me 5. Now, if I ask the person sitting next to you, what's your self-efficacy for running 5 miles? Give me a number 1 out of 10. She might say a 6. So I would say to you, is the 5 the same as a 6, or is it different? And of course you'd say, well, it's different because 6 is higher than 5. But how do I know that your 5 is measured on the same scale as a 6 when you're reporting about your own self-efficacy? Because maybe she's reporting about a 6, but in reality her own perceptions of that might be similar to your 5, or it might be like your 8. Well, this is very difficult, and it puts us in a precarious situation scientifically because we like to measure things that we can see, we can touch, we can manipulate. Well, I've never seen a self-efficacy. I don't know what they look like. I've never seen one inside of somebody's head. It's impossible to measure objectively, and so we rely largely on self-report. So there's some measurement error. That's a problem when we start talking about temporal sequence. So imagine a scenario or a situation where we have an intervention. And at time point 1, so pre-intervention, before the intervention, I ask you to report about your self-efficacy for rejecting peer pressure, for smoking, for example. And you give me a number of 3. And then I do some skills training. I teach you how to reject peer pressure. I tell you that you can do it. Some verbal persuasion. I show you examples of your friends who have rejected peer pressure, some vicarious learning or vicarious experience. And we do some role play. And then I ask you to report your self-efficacy after the intervention. I do a post-test. And you give me a number of 8. I would be very happy because it would appear that my intervention has been successful. And, it's quite likely that it has been. However, there is the possibility that your self-efficacy changed, but it could have changed before the intervention. So because I can't see it, it could have changed 30 seconds before I did the intervention. And it could have changed because of something else. Maybe we found out that you have cancer. And so you're more likely to quit smoking or to reduce peer pressure. I don't know, or maybe a parent had cancer, and so you're more hypervigilant or sensitive to those things. We don't know, and while it seems likely that it was a result of the intervention, we can't test that empirically because we can't see your self-efficacy. In fact, there are many people that believe that instead of being a predictor of behavior change, self-efficacy is just a report of our behavior. So when I ask you to report about your self-efficacy, it's less of a predictor, meaning it's going to influence future behavior, and it's more just a report of you saying, well, have I run in the past? Have I rejected peer pressure in the past? And so that's just what you're reporting for your self-efficacy. So these are some limitations. These are some concerns that many people have in health behavior theory about a heavy reliance on self-efficacy. Now, self-efficacy is very, very influential in changing behavior despite these limitations, and it's something that we continue to focus on and spend millions and millions of dollars trying to measure and trying to influence. And you're going to see that in many of the models and theories that we talk about throughout the semester.